Okay, another day, another bunch of off-camera work. I apologize to myself for that because, like I said, I promised to be better about documenting stuff. But got pretty much everything I wanted Cerakoted for the engine Cerakoted, which actually happens to be just about everything. Cylinder head is done in tungsten. Came out really good. No Cerakote on the bore, which is a huge relief. Power valves were totally gummed up. They're caked with carbon. I can probably put a picture of it up, but before and after. So yeah, those were totally gummed up. I need to probably take this front piece off and just oil it a little bit. But these flapper valves are nice and cleaned up. I'm not going to Cerakote them or anything like that. I don't really have the time or patience. So those are good to go. Water pump outlet is Cerakoted tungsten as well. I think this was Cerakoted in the last shot I made. All this was as well. I've been working on a buddy of mine's bike. He's building an 03 CR125, so he's been using me as a resource on stuff he can't figure out, or if he wants something Cerakoted or whatever. But yeah, I think we're good to go ahead and start doing the final assembly. So I got the GoPro set up this time. So I actually am videoing it. The exhaust is being delivered today. The head, I'm still waiting on. It's I think I called the guy at Luke's Racing yesterday, and he said that it was either going to be shipped that day or today. So yesterday or today. So it should be here in the next week or so. I unfortunately am going to be gone, but when I get back, that'll be the first thing I put on. Everything else is good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and assemble this motor. Oh man, this is gonna feel good to say. I'm gonna go ahead and do the final assembly on the motor. Get this thing done. Can't wait. Excuse my mess here, but I just wanted to stop and do a video real quick to show you what I got going on here. This is a tool by Motion Pro, and I've seen several YouTubers, torquing down these cylinder head studs, and I haven't really seen anyone use this, so I figured I'd kind of show it off. There's a lot of people I'm sure that could really use this, but it's pretty simple. It just bolts on to your crescent wrench, or you can use an Allen wrench or whatever you want in here, and you just slide it onto this nut, and then you can use your torque wrench. I believe it's 3/8. Just clip it in there, and then you can just use your torque wrench like you would normally. You want to try to get it as close to the open end as you can, so you're not adding extra torque. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Again, I'm not cool enough to be sponsored by anyone, but I thought that was a really cool tool, so I wanted to show you guys that. Okay, so the motor's almost done. Last few pieces are the clutch and the cylinder head. With the clutch, I did make a final decision. I'm going with the stock clutch because really it's in pretty good shape, and I don't see any reason to spend the money on a big high dollar aftermarket clutch when the stock Honda clutch works just fine. Especially because this isn't really going to be like a full-on race bike. This is going to be more of just kind of a fun bike that I take to a motocross track and ride around and whatnot. Over here are all the parts that I'm going to use. They're a mixture of parts off of the running bike and also off of the parts bike. Just kind of went over them and saw which one of the correlating pieces works best. The hub, the basket and the inner hub are off of the running bike. This is off of the parts bike, as is this little sleeve here. I think one of these washers is off the parts bike, and I think the lifter assembly is off the parts bike. I took this apart, cleaned it up, oiled it up. It's working good now. And then the nut and the rod, I think, are off of the running bike, but I'm not really sure on that. I guess it doesn't really matter. And over here I got all new parts that I'm going to be running. This is the lock washer. Obviously got a new one of those. Got all new bolts for it, new springs from Tusk. I got the Tusk plates, the friction plates are, and I also got a new bearing. So clutch going in. Still I'm waiting on getting the clutch hub Cerakoted, as well as the ignition hub, and then the cylinder head will be going on shortly after that. Well, man, I am very happy to be done with this. This is a huge step out of the way in the build. I know in the video it probably looks like this took maybe 20 minutes, but it's really taken about 2 months. I've been working on other stuff here and there, but coming back to visit this, and it's finally done, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. It's not perfect, I'll be the first to tell you that. There's, little flaws here and there, but if I wanted it to be perfect, I would have taken it to a shop and paid someone to do it. So all in all, I'm extremely happy with how this thing turned out. Now you're not going to have seen the last couple steps, putting on the ignition cover, clutch cover, sprocket, anything like that, just because I didn't really feel like setting up the GoPro just to film that. But I'm going to do a quick overview of what all I've got here. So obviously up front, or down here is the Tusk shifter. Primary drive 13-tooth sprocket. This is the OEM cover that I Cerakoted crimson and then put the design on here, and then graphite black. The cases were Cerakoted in tungsten. So was the cylinder, which I'm not really sure why they're two different colors. There's actually 3 different colors. I'll show you on the back side what I mean later. But yeah, for whatever reason it ended up being 2 different colors. Inside we have the Hot Rods crank, Vertex piston and rings. All that came with the Wrench Rabbit rebuild kit, and then of course the gaskets that come with that and all that good stuff. Up here we have the Boysen rad valve, which is pretty trick. I actually was really impressed at the craftsmanship that went into that. Electron carb, of course. The other cylinder off of the parts bike is actually away right now. It's getting replated, and he's porting it. My mechanic is. So when that comes, I'll re-Cerakote it. Hopefully it matches that a little bit better, but if not the end of the world. And then of course we have the fathead cylinder head up here, which is awesome. Got my little uber cool logo on here. Up here we have the SwedeTech exhaust flange. Now if you look here, you can actually see there's two spacers here behind the flange. I got 2 additional spacers. They're 2.5 millimeters each, and that allows you to change where the power band kicks in. I'm probably not going to end up running 2 of them, but I ended up getting the 2 of them, and I put them on just so I don't end up losing them or anything like that while the rest of the build's going on. Then over here on the back side, you can kind of see what I'm talking about with the clutch cover. For whatever reason, it turned out like more brown than the case did. I'm not really sure what happened there. I do have the other one off of the parts bike that I may end up, so I may redo this with the other cover and see if I can get a better result. If not, and I don't have time, it's not the end of the world. I think it's kind of cool the way it looks, especially with the exhaust that I'm going to have on it, but you know, it is kind of a weird thing that it turned out being like a totally different color than either the case or the cylinder. So not sure what's up with that, but whatever. Kickstand or Kickstarter, it's stock. I just cleaned it up, removed the casting marks, all that. Little Tusk drain bolt, or I'm sorry, Tusk fill bolt. A little bit of bling never hurts. And then down here I also have the Tusk magnetic drain bolt. The water pump kit obviously came with the wrench rabbit kit. AS3 radiator hoses, that's going to go on the rest of the bike obviously. Now the right side crank cover, this was actually Cerakoted in a mixture of, it's a little dusty, that was a mixture of graphite black and tungsten. I was trying to get kind of a super metallic-y black, and it kind of worked. It looks kind of cool. Here you can see something that is truly graphite black, and you can kind of tell that it's got a little bit more of a metallic sheen to it, so it came out kind of cool. Something that some of you may not have picked up yet, if you're not super sharp-eyed, you can notice all these black bolts. I ended up using the black bolts off of, from MX Revival. So when I mentioned earlier in the video that when I first got done with them, I thought they were cool, but I didn't quite think it was right for this. I ended up using them kind of out of necessity, and yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of cool. It's unique. It's not as shiny as like other motors are, and I think that's kind of a cool thing. It's just kind of, it's subtle, it's muted. It has a little bit of that eye-catchiness, but it's very subtle, which I really like. So yeah, I think I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna run it, and yeah, I didn't think I'd like it at all, but actually I really don't mind it. I think it looks kind of cool the way it's kind of roughed up, beaten up kind of look. And then last but not least, this is the exhaust I'm going to be running with it. This is the Scalvini exhaust. Super cool exhaust. I can't wait to have it on the bike. So it'll look something kind of like that. Well, let's see if I can just kind of set it there. Oh yeah, that's going to be super cool. So like I said, this kind of matches that, kind of gives it that rough kind of look. So I may end up just using that, but I may try to get a slightly better result. I'm not really sure yet. We'll see if I have time. So yeah, that's the engine. Just like I said, super happy to, need that bolt back in. Super happy to get this done and wrapped up, and now I can put my full attention to other stuff. Yeah, this is a huge mile mark for me, so I'm very happy. I'll see you guys in the next video.